akechi! Good evening, everybody, or good morning, or good afternoon, and welcome back to London Detective Mysteria. I am all recovered from last week's ordeal, and ready to dive into akechi's route. Last time, we found out that we hadn't unlocked Lupin yet, so just gonna have to make do with the other glasses boy. It's fine, Akechi was the one who I decided from at the beginning before meeting Lupin's civilian form. So it's really not that much of a downgrade. After all, I already like this guy. So there's no need to despair. Hi, Bad Luck-kun! Welcome! Are you ready to romance a glasses boy? A white-haired glasses boy. White-haired boy with glasses. White-haired anime boy with glasses and a sense of duty. Akechi time. So the first chapter of his route is titled His Abduction, huh? Several days had passed since the picnic in Hyde Park.
結局、私があの霧の中で見た人は、せっかく楽しいピクニックだったのにな。
Yeah, I already forgot who that guy was
せっ
too.
かくの休日だっていうのに、私ったら何を考えているのかしら。ここは気分を変えて、何をして過ごそうか。
That's right,
今
happy
日一日
thoughts.
の計画でも考えましょう。
Just think of Lupin.
せっかくだからまずタルトと紅茶でものんびり味わって。
Every chapter without fail, it's just tea. However, just as my plans were taking shape, they shifted to something else entirely.
失礼します、お嬢様。ご友人のお二人がお越しですよ。なんだかとてもお急ぎのご様子でしたけど。
Normally I would expect it to be Holmes and Watson, but considering whose route we're on, probably Akechi and Kobayashi? Ah, yeah, she had the right of it. Both... Oh, Watson and Kobayashi. Is it this a meeting of the assistants? Then where's Abby? Both Watson and Kobayashi were huffing and puffing, as though they had no wind in them to spare for rest.
ごきげんよう。ワトソンと小林くんが一緒なんて珍しいわね。
Oh,
一
wait.
体どうしたの？
Have they come here because Sherlock and Akechi are fighting over me? Oh, you two. It's okay, I have two hands.
レディー、明智を何とかしてくれ。
Kobayashi just called us lady in English.
ホームズを止めて。
Oh, these poor boys.
え？
Rhea! They cried my name with such boyish panic that I listened eagerly for an explanation. The story was this. Holmes and Watson had been charged with investigating a series of abductions that had been staged throughout London. Akechi and Kobayashi, meanwhile, were on a leisurely tour of the city. It was simple chance that saw the four of them happen upon each other. So then did they start fighting like some dogs?
いや、最初は二人とも普通に話してたはずなんだよ。最近起こった誘拐事件についてとか。
Yeah, definitely like some dogs out on a walk, huh?
そうそう。貴族が身代金目当てで狙われてる。
首謀者が貧しい人を金で雇っているせいで、なかなか犯人の足をつかめないとか。それに、近くに怪しい場所はないかとか。
ついでに、近くにうまい店ない。
How?
それなら、近くにうまいミートパイの店があるぜ。1個5ペンスでこのうまさ。
No, how did it get to there?
俺たちがちょっとミートパイに気を取られている隙に、ホームズ構えてるし、明智は刀を抜いてるし。
What? Boys, have you been paying attention? Oh, a toggle hat from Zakuichi. Got it. I'm a nice and maidenly Viking.
一触即発で手が出せないし、俺たちには目もくれないしで、もうお手上げなんだよ。
んで、お前の家が近くにあるのを思い出したんだ。
They're still out there?
どうしてそこで私が出てくるのかしら。
Use your feminine charm, Freya.
お前なら喧嘩両成敗してくれると思って。
両成敗？
Whoever settles down from the fight first gets a kiss.
穏やかに俺たちの相棒を諌めてくれると思ってさあ行こう
Still not entirely grasping this strange affair, I told Alicia where I was going and set off. I followed the boys to the ever-bustling Kennington Road. It carried a vibrant energy that inspired smiles and exploration, but as we stepped off the main road and into an alleyway, it was as though the whole of the atmosphere turned. Oh,
あれはホームズ
boys,
と
boys, are you dueling in broad daylight?
すでに戦ってるみたいだわ。しかも
Akechi's sword howled downward but sliced little more than air, for Holmes sidestepped the blow and made ready to plunge his fist into the foreigner's belly. Wait, what? Akechi, you can't just use a sword in the middle of the street? Like, and against fists too? Reacting with practiced haste, Akechi brought the hilt of his blade out to block Holmes' strike, but no sooner had the blow been parried than Holmes grabbed the sword's guard, twisting it in such a way as to, by means of discomfort, force his opponent to disengage. And why are they narrating this like it's an equal fight? Their battle played out before my eyes, each advancing then retreating with calculated intensity.
二人とも目が本気だわ。どうしてこんなことに？
Holmes, Akechi, I'm gonna call the cops.
明智の剣術に挑むなんて
Right?
ホームズのや
Right?
ホームズのパンチはものすごく痛いのにな明智のやつ
Yeah, this isn't how you want Holmes to die, right?
二人ともため息なんかついていないで、あの二人を止めなきゃ。戦っていた二人が間合いを取ったわ。
Shan't have a better
今の
chance
チャ
than
ン
this.
ス。
Without much in the way of forethought, I shouted. Wait. Both of you? Ah, right choice. My detective skills. This was ludicrous. Both of them needed to stop.
待って、二人とも。
It worked. Holmes and Akechi stopped immediately.
こういう時は喧嘩両成敗よ。
I stepped between them.
何があったかはわからないけれど、喧嘩はいけないわ。クラスメートでしょ。
Exactly.
喧嘩とは手合わせのことですか？
In the middle of the street?
明智君が東洋の剣術に詳しいというから見せてもらっていた。
With your fists?
僕もホームズ君が西洋武術に精通していると聞いていたので、ならいっそ手合わせしてみようという話に。
Voice is so headache.
しかしさすがはホームズ君ですね。西洋の攻めの体勢は読みにくいものがあります。
With a flick and a twist, Akechi returned his blade to its sheath.
いや、明智君のすり足こそ先が読めず勉強になった。それほどの腕前。誰かに教わったのか？
Is this the male bonding that I heard about?
はい。日本にいる師匠に。
気のせいかしら。
Now there was definitely some hesitation. Is his master dead?
ホームズ君はお父上から教わったのですか？
It's called Bartitsu.
基本の型は。あとは独学だ。人の真似をしていてもその人物を超えることはできないからな。
Truly spoken like somebody with a papa complex.
なるほど。ホームズ君にとってお父上は同じ探偵であると同時に技の師匠でもあるのですね。しかも貪欲に自己流の技を磨こうとするとは、さすが西洋はアグレッシブです。
Welcome, Tuxedoji. Hello. Akechi and Holmes started fighting in an alleyway. Akechi with his sword and Holmes just with his fists. It turns out it was just a friendly bout between buddies. Is this male bonding? Like, is this a men thing or like an 19th century England thing?
アグレッシブ？
Akechi began to scribble his findings in his notebook. Kobayashi, standing beside him, appeared to be at a loss upon a word he did not quite understand. It's okay. Learn English bit by bit.
積極的って意味だよ。あとは強引とか攻撃的っていう意味もあるな。
Pretty men? Yeah, there's a lot of pretty men here. Highly recommend. It's a bit of both, really. We don't tend to use swords so much now. So now it would be knives? I'm not sure which would be worse between swords and knives.
なるほど。
ですがミス・ホワイトリー、手合わせに突っ込んでくるなんてあなたも想定外なこと。
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting you to pull out a sword in the middle of an alley.
だってあのままじゃ二人が怪我をすると思ったんだもの。
手合わせはあくまで手合わせです。安心してください。お互いに力の制御をすること、これも
明智君の言う通りだな。君の心配など無用だ、ミス・ホワイトリー。
Excuse me for not wanting my friends to fight in an alleyway.
でもさすがレディーだな。勝負のど真ん中に押し入るなんて。
Again, Kobayashi is calling us lady in English.
普段から怖いもの知らずなだけあるよ。とてもじゃないけど真似できない。
小林くんもワトさんもそれは褒めてるとは言えないわ。元はといえば二人が勘違いなんてするからこんなことに。
Both grinned with wild innocence, unaware of the trouble they contributed to the scenario. If only I could share the feeling.
では僕たちはこれで失礼する。引き続き誘拐事件の捜査をしなければならないからな。
それなら手合わせなんてしている場合じゃなかったんじゃ。
Look carefully, Fukunaga-san. That's not just any alley. It's between the Denny's and the IHOP, where miracles happen.
レディー、男には時として引けない戦いってのがあるんだよ。
そうそう。1対1の男の勝負を邪魔するなんて無粋だろ。
These two asked us to interfere.
ちょっと二人ともさっき言っていたことと違うじゃない。
そこのお店で売ってたミートパイすごく美味しいんだ。1個あげるから今日のことは多めに見て。
You got a deal.
ワトさん、俺の分は？
小林、お前さっき俺と一緒に食べただろ。
バレたか。
いや、バレるバレない以前の問題だって。
I accepted the meat pie, at least some small token to have lent purpose to this entire episode, and bid farewell to Holmes and Watson. Now I hang out with Akechi, whose route we're on. It's okay.
またさ、一体別のも確かに美味しそうだけれどこのやり場のない気持ちはどうしたら。
ミス・ホワイトリー、人からのもらい物はありがたくいただくべきです。
You don't need to tell me twice, Akechi. Bouquet and extra bouquet. That's the life of an assistant.
食べ物にはそれを作ったものの気持ちが込められていますから、粗末にしたら罰が当たってしまいます。
バッチ天罰のことよね。もちろん分かってるわ。
レディー、そのパイ食べないの？だったら俺が食べてやるよ。
小林、人の食べ物を奪うのはやめなさい。
Kozen.
意地汚いですよ。
Never heard that word before. Should I be spiteful? Yeah, we're not on Kobayashi's
そ
route.
の言う通りよね。いただき。
I took a bite of the still warm pie, and what a bite it was!
おいしい。さすがワトソンのおすすめね。
Whenever I play this game, I end up wanting to order some delivery. He liked it! Oh, so he likes a girl who can eat.
明智さん？
Ah,
あなたは本当に幸せそうに食べ物をいただくのだなと思って。
ah, the awakening of his feederism.
見惚れてたのか？
違いますよ。何を言っているんですか。 小林。
It's normally spelled Kozen. Interesting to see Kozen. What does that mean? I mean, I can guess based on context, but whilst they continued their dispute, I blissfully finished the remainder of my pie. It basically means swindle. All right.
やはり。では、
そういえば明智さんと小林くんは街を見て回っていたのよね。
Yeah, need me to help?
それじゃあ私も一緒。
すみませんが、
Oh.
気持ちだけ受け取っておきます。
まだ最後まで言っていないのに。
Please. We're already out after all.
僕たちのことよりも、あなたには自分の見識をさらに広めることをお勧めします。
Like learning sword training?
お菓子とお茶に囲まれているだけでは、今日一日が怠惰なもので終わってしまいますよ。
Hey, tea is an art.
明智さん。
あなたの考えそうな過ごし方を頭で考えただけですよ。
でもそれが怠惰だとはちっとも思わないわ。
レディー、お菓子とお茶は否定しないんだな。
ミス・ホワイトリー、あなたもたまには心を落ち着けて静かな気持ちで読書でもしてみては。
I know some good books. I wonder if Jane Eyre has been published yet? That was also in the 19th century, right?
ちょうどあちらに書店もありますし、いつも前に飛び出していくあなたには必要なことかと思いますよ。
And have any of you guys read Jane Eyre? I did it for English class and I didn't have very high expectations since not normally one for literature set in like the old like what's it called? It's not Regency, right? The thing that has to do with nobility and houses and whatnot. I confess I have not. I recommend it because I learned while we were reading that it was initially published like on a chapterly basis, like the serial novels that we have right now. And boy, that explains a lot. Like all of the cliffhangers and the structure, the 3-act structure that they have going on. And overall, once you get past the setting, it all feels very modern. Like Mr. Rochester is very clearly a predecessor for the modern bad boy, or maybe just an early version of the bad boy, not even like one of the earliest examples. Oh man, Mr. Rochester sucks! I recommend reading it because the male lead sucks. Akechi gestured in the direction of a shop a short walk away. I hope Emily reads Jane Eyre. Oh my god, Mr. Rochester sucks so much.
エゲレスの書籍は表現も意見も多彩で勉強になります。文字を通して他者の考えを読み取ること、これも鍛錬です。
Similarly, Dickens and Dostoevsky were paid by the word. It shows. It sure does. I never did finish reading The Prince and the Pauper.
その大切さが今にあなたにもわかる。
そうかもしれないけれど、でも明智さん。
Yeah, we can read anytime, but it's pretty rarely that we have the serendipity to walk around town with you, right, Akechi? Just the two of us? And also Kobayashi?
私、街の案内をして明智さんと小林くんのお役に立てたらなと。
あなたはお人よしですね。気持ちは嬉しいのですが、今回はお断りしておきます。
Aww.
そう。
It was a polite refusal, yes, but still a refusal. My reaction must have shown on me, for Kobayashi piped up to soften his partner's words.
でも、明智、嬉しかったんだ
Ah, is it because you like us?
嬉しくなんかありませんよ。
明智さん。
Oh, he's embarrassed. The detective turned and left with a flush to his cheeks.
明智待てよ。まったく、結局どっちなんだよ。明智の言うことなんか気にするなよ。
Eh, don't worry, Kobayashi. It's not his fault. It's the game's.
明智さん、私がだらしがなくて頼りないから。
He once scolded me for sleeping during lessons. What if, to his estimation, I was not one to be relied upon? What if, just what if, I amounted to very little in his eyes? No, it's okay, Freya. It's okay, you'll become the number one most important thing in his life soon.
そんなことないって。明智のやつ、いつも説教めいたことばっかり言うけど、頭が固いから、お前の手を煩わせたくないとか、迷惑かけたくないとか、素直に言えないだけなんだよ。
Aww. He can't bring it to himself to be honest.
そうかしら。
きっと、お前もそのうち分かってくるって。あいつの意外と優しいところとか。
I was then left with a smile and a chipper goodbye. When alone, the botherings that struck me imposed twice as much as they did when I was with company.
私はまだまだ頼りないかもしれないけれど、小林くんが言っていたように、明智さんの優しいところを見るためにもなんとかしないと。
Akechi's diligence was something to be admired, but it could also be seen as a curse. It was born out of an obsession with being perfect, which, no matter the strain it placed on his back, meant carrying the full weight of his burden. It was my hope that I could be someone worthy of sharing that weight. Ah.
私も明智さんに頼ってもらえる人になれるように頑張らなきゃ。
And that means becoming the number one detective in the world. And learning how to use a gun, probably? Remembering the opening movie? The first step would be to visit the bookshop Akechi recommended. I passed a gentleman aided by a walking stick along the way. Nothing unusual on its own, but it was curious to see a man of his age with one.
今の人まだ随分若いけれど。
This was but a passing thought, for he was out of my mind entirely by the time I entered the shop.
やっぱりここは江戸川乱歩のモルグ街の殺人かしら。
Hi, Hyde!
オーギュスト・デュパンの初登場だし。
Welcome, Hyde! Thank you for the raid! Oh boy, thank you, thank you! We just started. Right now we're exploring a bookstore after breaking up a fight between Holmes and Akechi that was actually a practice bout, even though Watson and Kobayashi were very worried because, you know, Akechi has a sword. You really shouldn't have a friendly bout with your bro in an alley with a sword against fists. I don't think that's a very good way of bonding. And Freya here agrees with me. With me, Freya. In any case, we're here to look at books, I guess?
あ、でも文豪小説の先駆けとも言える黄金虫が載ってる短編集も外せないわ。
No sooner had I entered the store did I find myself captivated by the wealth of literature around me. So captivated, in fact, that after agonizing at length over which two books to buy, I resolved the issue entirely by purchasing both. Ah, those one-percenters.
これでよし。あとは屋敷に戻ってゆっくり。
バカ野郎、引き殺されてんのか。
すみません。
Aw.
さっさと道を開けろ。邪魔になるだろうが。
Miss Whiteley is all of us, it's true. A cab driver was fuming at a man lying fallen in the middle of the street.
はい、今どきますので。
あの人さっきすれ違った人だわ。
I hurried to him to quickly alleviate the situation, picking up and returning what he dropped while he managed himself.
はい、この杖あなたのものでしょ。
はい、どうもすみません。
Even when the walking stick had been restored to the man, he was unsteady on his feet.
ここは早く移動させてあげないと。
お嬢さん。
私がこっちの腕を支えるから、早く通りの端に移動しましょう。
Is that how they spelled the word curb back then? Interesting. Like, I can tell that a lot of research went into this translation. I really admire it.
そこまでお嬢さんのお手を煩わせるわけには。
そんなこと気にしなくていいわ。急ぎましょう。
Supporting him as best I was able, we made our way from the center of the road.
本当に 助かりました。なんとお礼を言ったらよいか。
それよりもあなた、足は大丈夫？さっきも転んで動けなかったみたいだけれど。
What was the notable translation? My window froze. They spelled the word curb as Kerb instead of Curb. Or is that how they spell it in Britain?
足が悪いのはもともとなんです。本当にありがとうございます。
Is he hitting on us?
お嬢さんのお名前を。
私は
ホワイトリーさんですか。
Oh?
あなたのお名前は？
私はウィンザーと申します。
ひょっとしてウィンザーさんも本を買いに来たの？
いえ、
Mhm.
実は。
His manner and words both reflected a degree of anxiety to them. There was a pause, a vague stutter, a sharp intake of breath, and finally an answer. Yes, a pavement has a curb, a sidewalk has a curb. Ah, I understand. I say not understanding at all.
実は私はあなた様のお迎えの代理として参りました。
Is there a mystery that needs solving? Ah, Britain goes to gaol, American goes to jail. Ah. Oh, so it really is a, language difference. Interesting.
でも私、迎えなんて頼んでないわよ。行き先はアリシアに告げたけれど。
そのアリシアさんからの頼みなんです。何でも執事たっての希望だそうで。
Freya, you are just volunteering information here.
はい、ペンデルトンさんにはどうしても外せぬ用事が入ってしまいまして。
Now that's a lie. Pendleton would drop anything to come to our aid.
そんなに遠い場所でもないのに。心配性のペンデルトンらしいわね。
They're both pronounced the same. Over here, hotel has a silent H and an hotel, but a herb doesn't. I see. That'll do. Yeah, I think that we're getting kidnapped again. So this is probably the method of getting victims? Pretending to be down on his luck and getting somebody to try to help him up. Probing for information and whatnot.
至急お迎えに行くように仰せつかったので、すみません。焦るあまりあんな見苦しいところを。
Please don't fall for it.
怒ったペンデルトンはとても怖いものね。ウィンザーさん
Oh
は
my
焦るは
god,
ず
she's
だわ。
falling for it.
そんなに気にしなくても大丈夫よ、ウィンザーさん。
Ah,
焦る必要なんてないわ。
Freya, you know Pendleton. I'm pretty sure that he would commit for treason if it was for you.
そんなお心遣いを。
それじゃあ行きましょう。
はい、こちらです。
Are you leading this man to your house? Oh no! No, he's leading her to his house. I followed Windsor as he continued at a measured pace. We made our way along the street until, in an otherwise empty back road, we found a carriage awaiting our arrival.
お待ちしていました。さあ、こちらへ。
Look, you can even hear the crime in his voice. A man with an unusually thin frame smiled warmly as he extended his hand. Are you kidding me? Yet I was stopped just as I went to accept his hand. A certain someone grabbed my opposite wrist, bidding my jumping nerves to turn rapidly to the source. Miss Whiteley, please. Please, Miss Whiteley, please. Please. My thoughts exactly, Tuxedoji. There he is! Offering us his one brain cell.
明智さんどうしたのかしら。さっき別れたばかりなのに。
Hi, Sleet Dating Guest. How's it going? Doing well. Almost got kidnapped here apparently because this protagonist may be a detective endorsed by the queen herself, but is also a complete idiot.
しかも明智さん 少し息が上がっているみたいだけれど。
Maybe because he saw us following a stranger into a back alley?
一体どうしたの？
I could only return the interruption with an expression of perplexity, tilting my head as though the motion would add clarity to his intentions.
ミス・ホワイトリー、この馬車は僕の迎えです。
え？
ペンデルトンさんの馬車なら今頃書店の前に来ています。
え？でもウィンザーさ
Just
んたち
go
は
along with it.
この方たちは乗せるものを勘違いしていた。
すみません。すべてはこちらのミスです。申し訳ありません。
でも明智さん、あなたたちが馬車を利用するところ、
She just keeps volunteering information. Oh my god. This is the type of person who would, like, fall for a psychic cold reading. Who would give hundreds of dollars to a self-professed psychic.
ミス・ホワイトリー、
Oh! Uh-huh.
明智さん、
That's so bold.
あなたが混乱するのは当然です。
Ah, his voice. Oh, it is directly in my ear.
ですが、決してあなたの迷惑になるようなことはしません。
Ah,
僕を信じて任せてください。お願いします。
he is whispering directly into my ear. Ah, yes. Yes. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I wish that this came in like binaural audio so that it could sound like he was really there. Oh, I love this. This is good stuff. His tone was of the utmost seriousness. His earnest lingered in the space between us, small as that space was. This is the first time I've seen the word earnest used as a noun, too. Language really does change quickly. All I could do was silently nod. As I did so, Akechi released his grasp.
あなたはたまに考えの定まらないまま行動することがありますから、今後は気をつけてください。
He's right. Guess what? He sees you as even less reliable now.
では明智様、先にその剣をお預かりいたしましょう。
He is really trying this.
さあ、剣。
これは刀です。丁寧に扱ってください。
Akechi handed over his weapon sheath and all to the man. After doing so, for whatever reason, he was swift in the manner he took my wrist again to pull me away from the carriage.
明智さん、
Why did you give them your sword? I voiced his name. He said nothing. Without another word, he took what was to have been my place in the carriage and was gone. Gone, just like that. No explanation. I stood in place, ever perplexed as I was before, if not more so.
レディ、こんなところに。
小林くん、今明智さんが。
He just got kidnapped.
なあ、ここら辺で明智見なかった？
ええ、迎えの馬車に乗って。
やっぱり明智のやつ、わざと誘拐犯のところに乗り込みやがって。
誘拐。
Oh,
明智さんが。
oh my god, she's so dumb.
でもさっきの馬車にはついさっきまで私が乗ろうとしていたわ。もしかして明智さん、私の代わりに。
あのバカ、俺には勝手な真似するなってあれだけ言ってるくせに。
あのバカ。
自分は怪しい男見つけたら突っ走るなんて冗談じゃない。
No, it's okay, Kobayashi. It's our fault. We're the biggest baka.
レディ、頼む。一緒に明智を追いかけて。
もちろんよ。
お嬢様、お取り込みのところ失礼いたします。
It's the real Pendleton.
アリシアから話を聞いて迎えに来たのですが、これは何の騒ぎです？
I'm sorry, Kobayashi-kun. Your boyfriend got kidnapped because... That's right, it's Pendleton time. Pendleton. You know he had to do it to him. I might have turned tail to avoid Pendleton due to the lectures that would no doubt followed in his wake, but his appearance just then could not have pleased me more.
ペンデルトン、ちょうどよかったわ。すぐに馬車を出してちょうだい。
説明をいただきたいところですが、どうやら下級の要件のようですね。かしこまりました。お二人とも馬車にお乗りください。乗車中は頭をぶつけないよう、必ずどこかに捕まっていてください。
It's okay, even if we bump our head, we can't get any dumber than we already are. We set off that very instant in pursuit of akechi.
ホワイトリー家の娘と接触した？あの大貴族の。
Honestly, the ringleader is kinda hot too. Yeah, like again, I'm really fond of that sharp-eyed look. And that's just the right amount of facial hair. The kind where it looks kind of shady, but not too shady, with that slick back look. Like, really wicked, but also professional. I believe Akechi may have been kidnapped. What? They can't do that. That's illegal.
どうしてそっちも連れてこなかったんだ。一気に大金を稼げるチャンスを。
馬車の代行を装って貴族を誘拐し、身代金を要求。飢えた者を金で雇い、実行犯が捕まっても自分は手駒を切り捨て生き残る。
Oh geez, so he wasn't pretending he was bribed into it, huh? 19th century London sucks.
手口はそんなところですか？
Akechi found himself in the lair of the criminal ring responsible for the abductions that had become the talk of London. He observed no means of escape, no clear weaknesses. His hands were bound with coarse rope and the katana remained in their possession. Akechi, why did you give them your sword? 21st century London sucks too. It's okay, 21st century New York sucks too. I live in New York, I can say that.
偉そうな口を叩くな。お前はただの人質なんだよ。それに俺は行き場のないやつに再び金を稼ぐ手立てを与えてやってるんだ。
食や家のない者、その日を生きるのに精一杯な者が生きるために犯罪に手を汚す。どこに行っても事件が引き起こされる理由は同じなんですね。
As though to punctuate his words, the rope that bound Akechi's hands fell to the floor.
何？お前どうやって？
Passed in his hands was a file so small and slender that one might have mistaken it for a pen. There were no clear weaknesses, yes, but quite a few hidden ones.
このガキ！
The leader leveled a firearm at Akechi, a finger pressed lightly against the trigger. Oh!
くそ、こっちの仲間を盾にするなんて。
Akechi braced himself, interposing the man who held his katana between he and the ringleader.
お言葉ですが、人質を取るのはあなた方の方が得意なのでは。
このガキがその男ごと撃ち殺してやるぞ。それともなんだ、俺たちを人質で血祭りにできるとでも思っているのか。
Oh, this poor boy.
僕の故郷と違って自由が溢れています。ですが、事件を引き起こす人間の心理を変わる。だったら
Akechi's katana was now on the ground after his hostage dropped it. He reached down to reclaim the weapon with the deliberative air of one far removed from danger.
僕はこの国で起こる事件を解決します。事件を起こす人間を捕まえます。
Yeah, justice in the court of law, right, Akechi?
そして自分の居場所を、自分の認められる場所を手に入れる。見放されて命がけでエゲレスへ来た。意味がありません。
Abandoned in his own land? Akechi, what did your father do? Or what did you do to rebel against your father? Light played off the strong blade of Akechi's, seeming to shimmer even when the room was so dim.
言っておきますが、僕は決して殺しはしません。必要以上に傷つけもしない。まあ、見ていてください。
Enough talk, have at you! Kicking the man behind whom he had been shielding himself forwards, the boy launched himself towards the ringleader, sword at the ready. Oh? Not to worry, Freya, he's more than alright.
大丈夫だって。それに、明智のやつ、日本から持ってきてる大やすりを肌身離さず持ってるから。
I don't know what it was, but nothing Kobayashi said gave me comfort. My concerns were amplified when we arrived at our destination and could hear a cacophony of shouting within.
ここは先にスコットランドヤードを呼びましょう。お二人はそれまでこちらに。
He's not just alright, he's engaging in hot boy stuff.
そんなののんびり待ってられないよ。
Yeah, welcome to Hot Boy Summer.
小林くん、待って。
お嬢様まで。お待ちください。中は危険です。
ペンデルトン、あなたは先にスコットランドヤードに連絡をお願い。
Pendleton suffers. Kobayashi was right. Waiting? Waiting was to waste, and we could not afford to waste our seconds. I gripped my skirt and ran.
いた、明智だ。
Forgot to narrate that. My bad. Alone and well. The majority were long bested, their bodies on the floor. Those who still stood began to edge closer through a cooperated effort, corralling him against the wall. They are losing to, I am pretty sure, an 18-year-old. From a distance, his expression appeared collected. Closer inspection proved something was not quite right. Yeah, he's tired from beating back a whole gang of grown men with a sword while trying not to kill them.
そういえば、さん、私の手を掴んだ時も、ひょっとして私を助けようとして、急いであの場に駆けつけてくれたんじゃ。早く明智さんを助けなきゃ。
Yeah. What can we do?
待って、レディ。
小林くん。
考えもなしに乗り込んだんじゃ明智は助けられないと逆に捕まってあいつの足を引っ張るかもしれない。
Oh yeah, you would be the perfect hostage.
でもこのままじゃ。
大丈夫。俺を誰だと思ってるんだ。
Slingshot time again? Kobayashi flashed a smile.
俺はあいつの助手だぜ。明智を援護するのは俺の役目さ。だからここは俺に任せろ。
Kobayashi took up his slingshot and drew back its long band. He could hear the strain of rubber being stretched to its limits. Farther, farther back. Stopping. Deathly silence. It's describing it like it's a lethal weapon. He's just announcing himself. He shouted and released a band of the slingshot, firing something into the crowd with great force. The diversion was a success.
なんだこれ。体がしびれて力が出ない。
He just carries smokescreen around. The men who had surrounded Akechi tumbled to the floor whilst clutching their faces.
すごい。小林くん、今撃ったのは？
It is a lethal weapon. He could seriously kill someone with that if it hits them square in the temple or neck. Yeah, just like David, huh?
からしの成分を一気に空気中に飛散するように開発した俺の自信作だよ。
Oh my god, it's powdered mustard. Perhaps even fatally killed them to death? Whoa, how could anyone survive that?
飛散するのは一瞬だけどねえ花口を開けていたやつはその強烈な刺激にしびれたように動けなくなるんだ。
Kobayashi, did you make pepper spray?
でも小林くん、あの中には明智さんもいるんじゃ。
え？ああ、それ
明智さん、すごい。一人だけ平然と立っている。
Is that why you announced it?
明智、大丈夫か？
問題ありませんですが小林、仕掛ける時の合図はもっと明確なものにしてください。
How could anyone survive that? I can't believe that people die when they're killed.
からし弾を撃ち込むだろうと予想ができたからいいものの行くぞだけでは分かりません。
They call that the intuition, the connection between a detective and his assistant.
防げたんだ。いいじゃん。残りのやつらいけそう。
ええおかげさまで。
Akechi swung his katana once more, hammering those who had managed to rise to their feet back to the ground. His form as the back of his blade arced through the air was nothing short of spectacular.
レディー、伏せて。
I turned upon Kobayashi's voice to see his slingshot drawn back again, now aimed squarely in my direction. Kobayashi loosened another projectile. No sooner had the band snapped than I heard a cry of pain behind me. So, like, why are we here?
おお。
Oh!
ペンデルトンさん。執事なのになかなかやるな。
The return of Pendlegun?
拳一撃で大の男をノックアウトするなんて。
Oh my god, he just punched him!
いえ、あなたの攻撃があったからこそですよ、小林くん。
Oh, and he's so humble.
ペンデルトン追いついたのね。
Shifting round at last, I saw one of the criminals splayed on the floor, a knife fallen but a few lengths from his hand.
お嬢様、背中がガラ空きでは狙ってくれと言っているようなものです。
小林くんもペンデルトンもどうもありがとう。
Yeah, we're surrounded by a bunch of reliable guys. The three of us then motioned to aid Akechi. We reached him minutes later, and by then he was surrounded by the unconscious forms of the men he subdued.
もう間もなくスコットランドヤードが到着するでしょ
Akechi knelt before one of the few who remained conscious. A walking stick lay on the ground beside the man.
ウィンザーさん。
Oh.
あなたに一つだけ。
なんでしょうか。
あなたは僕が追いつくようにわざと歩幅を狭めて歩いていました。あなたの意図は読むことができても、その理由までは読むことができませんでした。
あなたがお仲間だということは分かっていました。お話しされてるのを見ていましたから。でも追いつかれたのも戦えなかったのも職を失ったのもすべてこの足のせいです。
Oh.
私は自分の不幸をずっとこの足のせいにしてきました。でも不思議なものです。最後の最後で私自身の愚かな振る舞いを止めようとしたのがこの足だったんですから。
The march towards the path to crime.
誰かに支えられて歩くだなんて慣れないことをしたせいですかね。
What?
そうですか。
But we didn't do anything. Akechi's reply carried no stigma of pity or of blame, but simply quiet acceptance.
恩をあだで返すような真似をしてしまって本当にすみません。
Sir hands off the maiden.
ただあなたが助けてくれた時のあの言葉だけは嘘じゃなかったんだ。信じてくれないかもしれませんが。
I don't remember us saying anything in particular.
そんなことないわ。あなたのお礼の言葉嘘じゃないと。
くそ、こんなところで牢屋に入ってたまるか。いくらがいい。いくら出したら俺を見逃す。金ならたくさんあるんだ。貴族から巻き上げた金が。
あなたいい加減にしなさい。
Right? Do we look like we're hurting for money? His craven attempt at bribery was so repugnant that I could not contain my urge to slap him across the cheek. And that's our sole contribution.
あなたのせいで一体何人の人が怖くて苦しい思いを味わったのか知りもしないで生きる手段のない人を巻き込んで明智さんを巻き込んでおいて。
Oh. In the voice acting, it says more explicitly that she's talking about Akechi.
おまけに自分一人だけが逃げようだなんてそうはいかないわ。捕まって罪を償いなさい。
Death penalty.
この
おっと。
The
そこまでです。
He leaned forwards and began to growl a counter, but Akechi and Kobayashi brandished their weapons in warning before he said anything. For this sort of treatment of nobles, it was usually the death penalty, right? So I kind of feel really bad for him right now, but that's just the fate of otome game villains. Even in settings with no death penalty, they usually end up dying anyway. Rip.
ミス・ホワイトリー。思ったままに動いては、あなたが手を痛めるだけですよ。
まあ、一発殴ってやりたい気持ちはよくわかるけどさ。
二人とも。
Pendleton and I escorted the boys to the dormitory by carriage.
ミス・ホワイトリー。
明智さん？
僕は、
Oh?
あなたに一つ、無礼を詫びなければいけません。
Is it for sword fighting in an alley?
無礼？
I considered several of our most recent encounters and found nothing which caused me offense. I am offended by him sword fighting in an alley.
緊急時とはいえ、いきなり女性の
Oh.
あなたの手を掴むなんて。
Oh. Oh, this boy. In that moment, Akechi seemed a different man entirely than during his battle with the kidnappers. He was timid, with cheeks burning and eyes granting attention to any place where I wasn't. Akechi is a maiden himself. Yeah. Check out this monster virgin.
別に、あなたの手を掴まなくとも、声をかけるなり、違う方法があったはずです。それなのに、あの時は焦ってしまって。
明智が自分から女の子に触るなんてな。しかも口より先に手が出たのかよ。
Kobayashi, you're not helping. Akechi appeared completely flummoxed.
勘違いしないでください。誰も触りたくて触ったわけではありません。これは仕方なく。
Akechi, does that mean that you don't hold a man's desire towards me?
おい明智、それはレディーに失礼じゃないか。いやいや彼女の手を掴んだみたいに聞こえるぞ。
嫌なわけないじゃないですか。僕は自分の意思で彼女の手。
He took down a kidnapping ring, and in exchange we bully him. Catching himself, Akechi suddenly fell silent.
明智さん？
とにかく、ミス・ホワイトに、今日はさぞあなたを混乱させたことと思います。では、僕は失礼します。
There he goes. Akechi strode toward the dormitory with a quickened pace. He was done. So why did I want him to stay?
待って、明智さん。
I chose this time to be the one to take his hand and stop him. So bold. Oh? Oh?
レディーはアグレッシブだな。
ミス・ホワイトに。
明智さん、今日は助けてくれて、それと私こそごめんなさい。明智さんに迷惑をかけてしまって。
別に迷惑だと。
私がもっとしっかりしていれば、明智さんの手を煩わせることもなかったのに。
Miss Whiteley is in fact not the bottom in that pairing. Oh my god. I can't believe that Miss Whiteley is the really stupid top.
これじゃあ、私、明智さんにいつまでも頼ってもらえない。ダメ人。
あなたはどうしてそのようなことを。
Akechi looked puzzled.
だって、私は明智さんや小林くんのように強くないし、すぐに騙されそうになるし、迷惑をかけてしまって、真面目で勤勉な明智さんに比べたら、私なんて。
I looked away. I knew what lingered in my throat. I just had to admit it, but the words wouldn't leave me. Why? Why couldn't I say it out loud?
ミス・ホワイトリー。あなたに一つお伝えしておきたいのですが、僕は 自分なんてと己を投げやりに扱う者が嫌いです。
嫌いです。
いいですか？
Yeah, he won't tolerate us being mean to his friend. He felt a squeeze round my fingers, but there was no blush to him. No timid nature nor a stammer. He was stern. She said date, but I heard dote. The light in his eyes was so searching, so piercing, he may have bared every unspoken thought in my heart.
どんな時だって最後に己を奮い立たせて励まして前へ進ませるのは自分自身です。きっとあなたが迷った時それがわかります。だからどうかあなた自身が自分に蓋をするような真似はしないでください。どんなに周りから見捨てられても見放されても居場所が欲しくて認められたくて。
What was this? I saw a loneliness I didn't understand behind his spectacles. Was it right to ask? Should I leave it be? I wondered, all the while scrutinizing this hollow with the caution of passerbys approaching a broken gate in the dead of night.
Akechi-san?
He spoke out of turn.
すみません。
Oh, whoops, that was Akechi, not the narration. Oh, Akechi! This came accompanied by a jolt of alarm and he pulled away his hand. No!
いらないことまで口走りました。今の言葉はとにかくあなたは塩らしく落ち込んでいるよりも手合わせに割って入るくらい元気な方が似合います。あなたはただでさえ危なっかしいというのに元気のないあなたはますます放っておけなくなりますから。それだけです。失礼します。
Man, he's a charmer. Akechi then retired for the dormitory.
やれやれ、明智のやつ最後に言い逃げかよ。
小林くん、さっき明智さんが言っていた必死になっている人間って。
ごめんレディ。俺もあんまり詳しいことは言えないんだけど。
Sadness possessed Kobayashi very suddenly.
明智ってさ、この国に来る前に剣術の師匠と大喧嘩してるんだ。
And then the master died? Camera froze. Just a moment. Let's see. Sorry for the trouble, everybody. All right.
明智さんが
This sadness only grew more pervasive. I listened.
あいつの父親っていうのが士族、元武士の階級で、家の名前や名誉にすごくこだわる人でさ。
That would be Kogoro Akechi, right?
明智が物心ついた頃から将来のためにってその師匠のところに預けてたんだ。
Wow, he was just abandoned, huh?
だから明智にとって師匠はほとんど親みたいな存在だった。剣術はもちろん武道や教養、日本じゃ珍しいけど銃の扱いなんかも明智は師匠から教わってたな。
Akechi has a gun?
ある時明智が一方的に脅されてる子供を助けたことがあったんだけど、
Oh.
その時にやっつけた相手が家族、まあこっちでいう貴族の連中でさ、家族の人間に暴力を働いた責任を取れって迫ってきたんだ。
それで
師匠なら明智は人を助けるために動いたんだって分かってくれると思ってた。それなのに師匠は刀を抜いた明智を責めたんだ。頭を下げて相手に詫びを入れろって。
Ideally, you would want to resolve things without violence, especially sword violence.
明智はどうしてもその言葉には従えなかった。多分生まれて初めて師匠に反抗したんじゃないかな。家族の連中、金はやるから今この場で小刀で自分の腹を切ってみせろなんて言って
What the F?
脅してたんだ。まあ当然だよな。
What? Yeah, that's more than being threatened. That's oh my god. It means Moriarty was right. Eat the rich, well cooked. Exactly, Tuxedoji. Oh my god. That I thought that would just be like regular, like, I don't know, the usual rich people bullying thing, like throwing rocks or something. You know, those things that would be technically assaults under the law, but nobody wants to prosecute them. No, that's just straight up sadism. What the actual heck? What?
師匠はそんな明智をお前はもう弟子じゃないって追い出したんだ。
I would draw a sword on them too. I would draw several swords.
そんな。
俺もショックだった。師匠ものすごく厳しい人だったけど、明智のことを自分の息子みたいに可愛がってたから。
Oh, could it be that the master was trying to protect Akechi by sending him off overseas where the nobles wouldn't be able to get him?
師匠からも責められて、実家からも遠巻きにされて。
でも明智さんは何も間違ったことはしていないわ。
Most countries around this time were civilized enough to be barbaric, to be fair. From what I learned about history, yeah, I guess so.
お前の言う通りだよ。でも向こうでは身分の高い者に歯向かうことはそれだけで責められる対象なんだ。それでも明智は自分が正しいと思ったことを曲げようとしなかった。自分が痛い目を見たとしても。俺たちの留学が決まったのはちょうどその後だよ。明智、こっちに来てから師匠のことは一切話さないけど、心親以上に慕ってた人に見放されるって相当きついし、唯一明智が頼ってた人でもあったから。明智ってさ、平気で無茶するし、冷静に見えて暑苦しいし、焦って墓穴掘ることもあるけどさ。
We'll calm each other down.
昔も今も目の前のことに一生懸命になれるやつなんだよ。
Yeah. Akechi. Akun.
一生懸命。
Ken-chan.
そう、そこはずっと変わってない。俺が明智と会った時からずっとな。
Kobayashi. Were you that boy?
おかげであいつの助手は苦労の連続さ。
Akechi, were you that boy?
でも明智には俺がいなきゃって思えるんだよね。
Kobayashi, were you that boy?
まあこんなことを明智に聞かれると調子に乗るなって怒られるんだろうけど、この話明智には黙っておいてくれよ。バレたらお説教じゃ済まなそうだから。
ええ、また明日ね。
I bid him goodbye as he returned to the dorm after Akechi.
知らなかったわ。明智さんがイギリスに来る前に。
The story refused to leave me. The more I wanted to push it out of my mind, the more it stayed, reciting itself again and again.
私の手を握り返した明智さん、とっても真剣で。
We gotta hold his hand more.
何か明智さんのために私にできることはないのかしら。
There wasn't a point in standing there. With that persisting dark message in my mind, I boarded the carriage where Pendleton was waiting. I expected peace and quiet once I was home. Not so with Pendleton. Time to get lectured because we did almost get kidnapped.
知らない馬車に乗ろうとなさるなんて。
Exactly.
お嬢様、あなたは周囲の危険に対して警戒心がなさすぎます。
I hadn't even had the time to digest all that had happened that day before Pendleton launched into one of his lectures.
お嬢様は自ら危険なことに首を突っ込んでいるという自覚をお持ちですか？
ごめんなさい。私の不注意で明智さんも巻き込んでしまって。気をつける
わ。そのお気持ちを忘れないようにお願いいたします。
This lecture had done nothing to erase the story I was told earlier.
ねえ、ペンデルトン。
何でしょうか。言っておきますが、頼み込まれてもお説教の手は緩めませんよ。
そんなんじゃないわ。
Oh.
親が自分の子供を見捨てるなんてこと本当にあるのかと。
Oh, Freya, you sheltered girl.
残酷かもしれませんが、親子も所詮は他人同士。分かり合えないこともあるのではないかと。
Sorry, Pendleton. Papa Pendleton.
他人同士。
家族の間でも争いは生じます。それに、殺人事件が起こる場合もございます。
Yeah, Freya, remember we already saw that before with the nice grandma?
親しいからこそ、こじれてうまくいかない問題もあるのではないかと。
私はずっと親子とか家族に憧れていたけれど。
お嬢様も人生の伴侶を選ばれるときは慎重にお願いいたします。
Yeah, we're being super careful. Next playthrough, we're going for a phantom thief. Are you proud of us, Pendleton?
ホワイトリー家の財産目当ての輩が近寄ってきましたら、即座にこの私が始末いたしますので。
I can't believe Lupin's bad end is just him getting knifed by Pendleton.
もう物騒ね。
Please. Leaving the butler to his suitor-slaying stratagems, I walked on, his voice nattering at me from behind with every click of my heel. Oh. Ah. And that's it for the abduction chapter. I think that we can afford 2 today. So what's the next one?
明智への弟子入り志願。
Aspiring disciple. Ooh. Does someone want to learn swordplay from him? I was perusing the morning paper as I always did each day after taking breakfast, but first I'm going to save. Akechi did no wrong. The latest abduction chapter, you're right.
お嬢様、何か気にかかる事件でも？
ええ。ペンデルトン。
Oh, geez.
黒魔術教団がロンドン市街の教会の地下で儀式をしようとしてたらしいわ。
Wait, did this game have a supernatural tag? I don't think so, but you can never really tell with Otome.
子供を誘拐して生贄にしようとしていたみたい。
Ah, geez.
なんてこの教団。確か前にも子供を誘拐して事件になっていたはずよ。
私も耳にしたことがございます。
Pendleton nodded, preparing a tea set.
助け出された子供たちは教団に感化され、まるで魔法にかかったように 誘拐などされていないと主張したとか。
子供をさらわれた親はさぞ心配だったでしょうね。今回も貧民街の男の子がさらわれたけれど、無事にスコットランドヤードに保護されたそうよ。
Yep, I think that this is our new latest abduction chapter.
でも兄弟員のほとんどに逃げられてしまったみたい。
Is our arc villain going to be cultists? I hope this is just a chapter thing.
また同じような事件が起きなければいいけれど、そもそも黒魔術だなんて本当に
まさかお嬢様は怪しげな呪術にご興味が。呪い。
Pendleton stared with an exaggerated look of fear and disbelief.
朝からさらっと恐ろしいことを言わないでちょうだい。興味なんてないわよ。
しかしお嬢様は以前こうおっしゃっていました。一つだけ願いが叶うなら魔法を使えるようになって願い事を100個叶えたいと。
それ大昔の話じゃない。
How long ago do you remember, Pendleton?
私はお嬢様の欲深さに驚き、将来が不安になったものです。
心配いらないわよ。願いや夢は叶うものじゃなくて自分で叶えるものだと学んだもの。
What a good girl.
さて、先ほどのお嬢様の疑問ですが、
今の言葉結構前向きで好きなのに。
Please acknowledge us, Pendleton.
黒魔術の儀式はその裏で莫大な金銭が動いている場合があります。
Pendleton, that doesn't answer if it's real or not.
思想や信仰というものはその裏で深刻な事件が引き起こされる場合もあり、スコットランドヤードも扱いには手を焼いているようですしね。そうそう、ちなみに儀式の場所には教会や墓地など人の魂の行き交いが活発な場所が選ばれ。
ねえペンデルトン、
何か。
あなた呪い殺したい人でもいたの？
Maybe against the people who killed our parents?
さあ、それはお嬢様のご想像にお任せいたします。
Hey, Pendleton, do you still have a gun on you? That's right, Miss Whiteley is a child. I forgot how old. I'm pretty sure she's 1 year younger than Holmes and Akechi, so 17? At times, Pendleton's smile could be an instrument of nightmares, much like it was in this moment.
人の魂といえば、お嬢様はテムズ川に夜な夜な現れる幽霊船の話をご存知ですか？
His magic wand of casting bullet.
幽霊船？
Just like poison is a magical potion that can transform anyone into a corpse.
はい。ロンドン市街に深夜の鐘が鳴り響いた後、霧の立ち込めるテムズ川に突如現れる船の話です。その船には志半ばで倒れた大昔の戦士の幽霊たちが乗り込み、この親の言いつけを守らない子供は眠っている間に問答無用で魂を幽霊たちに持っていかれ。
Yeah? Or bad little ladies who don't do as their butlers say?
いいわよペンデルトン。そういう話は子供が悪さをしないように言い聞かせるものでしょ。
ですが、火のないところに煙は立たぬとも言います。現にその時間にテムズ川付近を通ると霧に
わかったからもうやめてちょうだい。
The nerve of this man, always trying to rile me in some way or another. His lips simply curled into an eerie smile, or perhaps cryptic would be more apt. After he saw me off, still with the same unsettling grin upon his face, I made my way to school.
おはよう、レディ。
Hi,
ごきげん
Kobayashi.
よう、小林くん。
Kobayashi was the first to greet me as I entered the classroom. I guess Holmes and Watson are going to be slowly faded out? I could see a number of different tools scattered across his desk, more than just his special 7. The word you're looking for is kissable, Fukunaga-san. You're right.
あら、小林くん、明智 さんはまだ来ていないの？
ああ、
あ what？
中庭で合いびき中だぜ。
Kobayashi, I don't think you know what that word means.
合いびき？
えそれ本当に
Oh, he absolutely doesn't know what that word means. No sooner had Kobayashi spoke did Watson, who had been within earshot, leap into the conversation with a shout.
小林君、君が言っているのは先ほどここへ来た学園の小頭部の少年のことだろう。
Thank you so much, Glyph's office. Thank you so much. Thank you for resubscribing. Thank you. There's a lot of murders in London, judging from the number of detective VNs. Yeah, I think that the Holmes line just sort of attracts them. Like gods of death.
明智君の後をずっとつけていたようだな。
ああ、そうそう。
なんだそうだったのか。
男の子。でも初頭部の校舎はここから少し距離があるわ。その子、明智さんに一体何の用かしら。
I mean, two boys can have a tryst, definitely, but primary is definitely too young for any of us.
それなら覗きに行ってみる？
小林君、君は明智君から机周辺の道具を片付けろと言われたんじゃなかった。
そんなの後でいいって。できてなくても明智に怒られるだけだし大丈夫。
怒られるだけって。
I felt as though if the choice were mine to make, I would prefer to avoid arousing Akechi's ire. Yeah, we want to arouse something else of Akechi's. Oh man, those famous detectives who seem to have crimes follow them. Why does nobody try to just banish them? I mean, maybe that's the real reason why Akechi moved out of Japan and to London. Two boys, Tristan in the courtyard, 5 feet apart. Upon reaching the courtyard, we found Akechi with a young dark-haired boy who could not have been older than 10 years.
お願いします。僕を弟子にしてください。
Oh my god, he's adorable! Oh, look, it's a baby! Look at this baby! Oh my god, that's a child! Oh, look at that rosy-haired little boy. That rosy-faced. Oh my god, look at his big old eyes. Oh, I want to give him an oversized lollipop and a little sailor's cap.
すみませんが、僕は弟子を取るつもりはありません。
The unflappable detective's brows lifted in uncertainty. He didn't quite know how to handle this child. I am going to purchase him vast quantities of candy. Yeah.
僕もあなたと同じようにまだまだ鍛錬の途中。学び、教わらなければならないことがまだまだたくさんあるんです。僕のようなものに教えを請うよりも、まずは先生の教えに耳を傾けるべきでしょう。
Maybe some advice he's too young to get, a firm pat on the shoulder. I want to tell this son that I'm proud of him. This boy, Rick, persisted in his request, but Akechi remained firm. After several more protests, he relented and departed.
それで小林机周辺のガラクタの片付けも途中で、ここで何を？
How did he know we were here? He addressed us without having turned his back.
え？お前なんで途中だって分かったんだ？
見たのではなく、頭で考えただけです。この時間でお前が片付けをこなせるとは思えませんから。
もうなるほど。でも明智、ガラクタは失礼すぎるぞ。苦楽を共に過ごした俺のかけがえのない相棒を。
小林一人ならともかく、あなたも一緒でしたか、ミス・ホワイト。
That's right, Akechi. It's because we heard you were having a tryst?
ごきげんよう。さっきの子は明智さんのお弟子さんなの？
いえ、そんなことというよりも、あなたは先ほどのやりとりからどうしてそのような解釈を？
Unfortunately, Freya just gets dumber every time he sees her.
たまたま高等部の生徒たちに絡まれていたところを助けたら、弟子にしろとついてくるようになってしまったんです。
それって この前のあれか？明智が体育館裏で不良連中を小枝一本で撃退したやつ。
小枝一本で？
Oh, good, you didn't use a sword this time.
一般人に対して抜き身の刀は使えませんか？
Oh no, the child has imprinted on Akechi. Yeah, like a baby duck. Akechi spoke matter-of-factly, adjusting the katana where it was slung at his waist.
でも弟子の一人ぐらい取ってあげればいいのに。
申し訳ありませんが、僕にそんな暇はありません。それにしてとそう軽々しい気持ちで関係を築けるものではありませんから。
Exactly, a master should be picky when it comes to his disciples. As I observed Akechi's downcast face, I realized the gravity of my suggestion. The issue of masters and pupils was a topic about which Akechi was rather sensitive, for a good reason.
大方想像がつきます。リックは日本の武道が珍しいんでしょう。名探偵シャーロック・ホームズも日本の柔術に精通していると聞きますし。
Yeah, but he calls it Boritsu instead of Bartitsu.
そうなのか？リックは明智みたいに強くなって相手に立ち向かいたいんじゃないのかな。俺、明智と違って武道はまるでダメだからな。明智がちょっと羨ましいな。
It's okay, you're doing your best, Kobayashi.
小林、前に言ったはずですよ。
Kobayashi wore a cheerful smile, but Akechi's expression darkened.
僕たち日本人はエゲレス人にとってよそ者でしかないと。
よそ者だなんて。
Couldn't help but interject.
明智さんと小林くんは私たちの友達よ。みんなよそ者だなんて思っていないわ。
友達か。
Yeah, unfortunately for you, that's just you.
ミス・ホワイトリー、世の中はあなたのような心の広い方ばかりではないんです。エゲレス人のあなたには知る由もないことだと思いますが。
Yeah. I wasn't sure how I ought to reply.
すみません。今のは言葉が過ぎました。ですが、外から来た人間にしか知り得ないこともあるんです。
Akechi then returned to the classroom, leaving both Kobayashi and I where we stood. Today I learned Boritsu, or rather Bartitsu, is named after the inventor, Mr. Barton Wright. Wow, just named a whole art after himself. Well, I would have guessed the name stemmed from bar fights. Jujitsu, but for bars. I thought it was just a Japanese word. Yeah, I was under the impression that Bartitsu was something that originated in somewhere else in Europe, but for simplicity's sake, they just said that it came from Japan. Because that's happened with a lot of things, actually. Where, like, it came from somewhere, like, not that far away, but, like, someplace nobody ever heard of, so they just said that it came from the Far East, or something like that. His suggestions of things known to him but unknowable to me served to broaden the distance between us. In truth, I felt lonelier the more I dwelt on it.
レディ、俺も明智もレディやクラスのみんなが温かく迎えてくれて感謝してるんだぜ。これでもただ温かい分外の冷たさが身に染みるっていうか。
Yeah, that I understand.
それってどういうこと？
それは。
For a brief moment, Kobayashi's expression betrayed an uncharacteristic gloom as well.
いや、レディが気にするようなことじゃないよ。それよりも、俺たちも早く戻ろう。遅れて教室に入って、明智に睨まれるのも面倒だし。
ええ、そうね。
I know what he meant. Don't pursue the matter any further. The best I could do with that subtle press was to nod in agreement and return. I hope we won't, get most of Akechi's development through Kobayashi. It, doesn't feel as intimate when it's through an intermediary?
ごきげんよ
皆さん。
Mr. Mackenzie, I'm glad you weren't fired.
小林君、机の上がものすごいことになっているけど。
大丈夫先生、全然問題ないから。
マッケンジー先生、彼に構わず続きをお願いします。
Akechi was in usual form, displaying no mercy to those who forgot their homework, fell asleep in class, or were slovenly in their dress. Lessons ended. All was well.
では、本日はここまでとしましょう。皆さん、気をつけて下校してくださいね。
That's right, try not to get kidnapped again, Freya.
そうそう、明智君と小林君、ちょっと用事があるから私についてきてください。
俺も明智と違って学級委員でもないのに。
But you're the vice class representative.
先生が呼んでいるんですよ。来なさい。
明智さんが先生の様子で呼ばれることはよくあるけれど。
Curious. Because not eavesdropping is never the right answer. You gotta be as nosy as possible in an ultimate game, okay? What does Mr. Mackenzie want with them?
もし気づかれたら授業の内容で
Perfect. No one could argue the idea. With confidence growing, I hurried out the classroom. It was as I was halfway down the staircase that their voices reached my ears.
だいぶ待たせてしまいましたね。二人に事件の依頼です。学園に盗まれた家宝の壺を探してほしいという依頼が来たのです。それを受けてもらいたい。
Do the teachers assign us fresh cases? I mean, that seems like it would be killing two birds with one stone. Like, on one hand, you're letting students practice on cases that the police are presumably also on, while also securing funding for the school? Mr. Mackenzie needs to work on his sleep schedule. It's okay, he just looks like that.
今渡した書類に依頼人の住所が書かれています。
先生、その方はご存知なんですか？僕たちが日本
はい、もちろん先方も承知の上です。
Or he needs to work on his eyeshadow. Hey, it looks great on him.
東洋からの留学生だとお伝えしたら非常に興味を持たれて、ぜひお願いしたいと。
Mr. Mackenzie, I'm afraid to tell you that's also a red flag.
そうですか。
Akechi's face alighted with genuine relief.
以前二人に学園に来た依頼をお願いしたときは申し訳ないことをしてしまいましたね。まさか依頼人が門前払いにするなんて。しかも生徒が東洋人だからという理由で。
I make sure to schedule 8 hours a week just as the doctor ordered. I think it's per night? What? That can't be right. Mr. Mackenzie. This is how he got appendicitis.
そんなことがあったなんて。
先生が謝ることないって。俺たちもう気にしてないし。
Oh, Kobayashi's such a good boy.
その通りです、先生。再び依頼を僕たちにくださったことありがとうございます。
Oh, is it just for these two so that they can pay back their living expenses?
明智君、君は探偵クラスでもホームズ君に並ぶほど優秀な生徒です。君の努力、そしてこの学園に来るまでの君の苦労、それが報われるよう応援していますよ。
He's such a good teacher.
君も小林君も私の可愛い教え子ですから。
マッケンジー先生。
どうもありがとう先生。
確かに明智さんは努力家だわ。それに自分にはとても厳しい人だし、よかった。マッケンジー先生も明智さんのことをちゃんと見ていたんだわ。さすがは先生ね。
God, I hope he doesn't die.
ところでホワイトリーさん、どうしたんです？
ああ、レディ、 そんなところに立ってどうしたんだ？
Nothing.
あなたもしかしてまた
ちょっと授業の内容で先生に聞きたいことがあって。
おや、それは一体何でしょう？
いけない。そこまで考えていなかったわ。
Mr. Mackenzie, we don't know what we don't know.
それは
マッケンジー先生、僕たちはすぐに依頼人を訪ねます。盗品は時間が経つほど捜索範囲が広がります。早く見つけるに越したことはありません。来なさい、小林。では先生、ミス・ホワイトにも。
あ、待てって明智。
I had the urge to call out to them before they left.
頑張ってね。
あ、行ってくるよ、レディ。
Kobayashi smiled, waving at me. Akechi, meanwhile, stood still. The pause was such that I thought he would leave without responding.
行ってきます。
Ittakimasu! Welcome, Biblio! Y'all being far too wholesome for my liking, I got no heads to bonk. It's okay, I'm sure bots will turn their heads sooner or later. Just 2 words, that was all. Second later, they were gone. Don't get kidnapped, you two!
ホワイトリーさん、本当は2人が気になってついてきたのでは？
Aw, Sensei sees right through us.
嘘をついてしまってすみません。
No, 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 I'll allow the bots in. I can't believe Biblio's been taken in by the bot propaganda.
いえ、あの2人もいい友達を持ったものです。
He's such a good teacher. Nerves drained away to be replaced by a modest happiness. I was thankful again to know of his steadfast support of Akechi and Kobayashi. No! No praising Skynet in the chat.
私、先生がクラスの担任でよかったと
Freya, that's
初め
rude.
て思いました。
You can't just say that.
初めて？
We parted ways after which I motioned to return to the classroom. I had to pass the courtyard. I expected nothing of note to arise in my venturing back, but of course something would happen. The scene was an uncomfortable one to witness. Oh, was Rick being bullied again?
おい、一体いつまで手をこまねいているつもりだ？相手はたかが黄色猿一匹だってのに。
Normally his face would be my type, but no.
でもよ、あの金髪メガネ、全く隙を見せないから、不用意に近づいたらまたこっちがやられるぜ。
おまけに向こうはあの探偵クラスだろ。下手に感づかれたらこっちが被害に遭う。
探偵クラスの
That's right, Freya. It's time to beat them up.
それって明智さんのことよね。
As I overheard this conversation being held in the shadows, I stopped cold in my tracks, my ears straining to hear every word.
こうなったらスコットランドヤードに行ったらどうだ？学園にいるジャニーが街で盗みを働いてるってさ。
ジャニーはみんな貧乏で薄汚いんだろ。スコットランドヤードも簡単に捕まえてくれるよな。
Wow.
よーし、これであのメガネザルをロンドンに住めないようにしてやる。
そんな、明智さんはリックを助けただけじゃない。
Flushed, I felt like striding out and confronting them then and there. But I knew well enough I stood no chance against a group of boys, each of them taller and no doubt stronger than me. What if they bound me, carried me off? I would only make the situation worse. So now she has self-preservation.
早く明智さんにこのことを伝えなくちゃ。
As fast as my legs would carry me, I rushed off. I first went to the boys' dormitory to see if Akechi and Kobayashi had returned from seeing their client. They weren't home. The only thing I could do was wait at the entrance. My efforts proved worthwhile. She still got the memories of her last kidnapping fresh.
あ、レディ、そんなところに立ってどうしたんだ？ってあれ？俺前にも同じこと言ったような気がするけど。
いえ、一言一句同じ言葉を口にしていました。ですが、ミス・ホワイトリー、 今日の
おかえりなさい。
Okay. No, that wasn't it. I had something important to say, exceptionally important, and yet I was reading them normally. Was it because the subject itself was discomforting? What's uncomfortable about it?
依頼された事件はどうだった？家宝の壺は見つかりそう？
Freya, what are you doing?
ミス・ホワイトリー、申し訳ありませんが、依頼内容を口外するわけには。
依頼人すっごく親切なおじさんだったぜ。俺たちと普通に話してくれたし。
It's amazing how little I trust that. Hey, what's shaken? You're getting framed. Exactly. It's as simple as that.
盗まれた壺の特徴を聞いて明智が絵を起こしたんだ。これでだいぶ探しやすくなると思う。
小林お前、守秘義務という言葉をちゃんと覚えていますか？
Akechi followed with a long, exasperated sigh.
もちろん。早く家宝の壺全部見つけてやらないとな。
全部って壺は一つではないの？
家宝の壺は5つで1組となる代物なんです。それよりもミス・ホワイトリー、
Interesting.
あなたはこんな時間にこんな場所でどうしたんですか？
You're getting
ひょ
framed.
っとして僕たちに何か用事でも？
Just say it. What's the problem? Yes, you need to tell him.
明智さんに伝えたいことがあって、それでここで待っていたの。
I'm glad we got a heart for that, but what was that other option? Like just pondering over how to do it? Just tell him. Oh my god, Freya. His query brought the conversation I've overheard in the courtyard back to the forefront of my thoughts, and in my desperation I could not help but let my lips run loose, as they should.
僕に？
He could not fathom what I was about to say, certainly.
小林、お前は先に戻っていてください。先にロンドン市街の地区地図の整理をお願いします。
Are you sure? Because I think that Kobayashi would benefit from hearing this too. There are times to be coy. This is not one of them. Exactly.
返事は？
はいはい、分かったよ。レディー、またな。
Kobayashi headed into the dormitory.
それであなたの話とは？
I relayed to him all that I had overheard the boys saying in the courtyard. He listened in silence as I spoke. I expected a great reaction of some sort, only to receive something different.
ミス・ホワイトリー、教えてくれたあなたには申し訳ありませんが。
Oh, thank you for the sip glyphs!
彼らが僕を付け狙っていることは前々から気づいていました。
I got some iced tea for myself, since I expected this would happen. That I would start craving tea. With extra sugar.
向こうは僕に隙ができるのを待っていたようですが、それが無駄骨だと思ったのでしょう。
What flavor? Tea flavor. I wasn't paying attention. I just picked the sweetest one they had on the menu.
これは僕がまいた種です。自分の問題は自分で片付けなければ意味がありません。
Akechi, you didn't invite anything.
これじゃあ私がしたことって。
ですが、ミス・ホワイトリー、あなたの気持ちは嬉しく思います。
Oh, baby.
僕のことを案じてくれたことと、それと行ってらっしゃいやお帰りなさいと誰かに言われたのはとても久しぶりだったので。
Oh, you said that he missed his okaeri and itterashai. Oh, I could have imagined the way his features softened, but I was hoping I didn't.
ですが、 こんな時間まで寮の門の前で待つことはあまり感心できませんね。あなたに何かあったらいけないので。
Aw, he's embarrassed. All I could do was nod. Akechi escorted me all the way to the carriage that would see me home. I was safely taken to the mansion and had a pleasant, restful evening. After lessons the next day, I witnessed a group of officers from Scotland Yard at the front gate.
スコットランドヤードが学園に何の用かしら。
Did they succeed in reporting him? Hi, Bandit! Hello! Akechi is getting framed because racism. Doing good. In that moment, I recalled what I overheard those boys discussing in the courtyard just the day before. My stomach churned.
東洋人の銀髪の学生。ああ、君のことか。
何か僕に用ですか？
Few of the students witnessing this interaction appeared concerned for Akechi. The majority glared with suspicion.
君に窃盗の容疑がかけられている。一緒に来て話を聞かせてもらおう。
おい、それって一体どういう。
僕にどんな疑いがかけられているのか教えていただけませんか？
Akechi responded to the officer in a calm voice, stretching out his arm to keep Kobayashi back. Oh, 'cause racism? Oh, that sounds bad. Yeah. My name is Freya and I think that racism sucks.
それは自分がよく知ってるだろう。コベントガーデン市場で善良なパン屋から盗みを働くなんて、これだからジャニーは。
待ってください。それはちゃんと被害届があったんですか？
当然だ。それに店の店主がこの学園の制服姿を目撃している。
制服ってまさかそれだけで明智さんを犯人だと決めつけるつもりなの？
この学園の生徒からも通報があった。銀髪の東洋人の学生が外で盗みを働き困っていると。
corruption.
学園の目をかいくぐって悪さをしているから先生も全く気づかない。助けてほしいと。
Freya pulling double-time detective and defense attorney. Yeah, all for the bay.
そんな話デタラメに決まってるだろ。
デタラメかどうかは我々が調べて決めることだ。善良な市民の通報を無視するわけにはいかない。
それなら明智さんにだって。
あんな奴が同じ学園にいるなんて冗談じゃない。
I hate this.
早く連れて行ってくれよ。学園にはずる賢い東洋人なんていらないんだよ。
As if to echo their hateful chorus, we heard insults and jeers hurled out by onlookers.
なんだと。お前らもう一遍言って。
わかりました。
明智さん。
Reaching out once again to restrain his assistant, Akechi's tone was nevertheless devoid of ire.
明智さん、まさかこのまま一緒に行くつもりなの？
ミス・ホワイトリー、僕は日本人です。エゲレスの人間でもこのロンドンの市民ですらありません。このような扱いは大方想像がついていました。逆らったところで逆に自分の首を絞めるだけです。
This is too real.
それにこういうことには慣れていますから。
そんな。
でも明智、俺は。
小林、これは僕の問題です。
There's no hiding I am Japanese, sir. You are as pale as the moon. And like it's not even stylized. He is pale-haired in universe too, which you might recognize is not usually a hair color that Japanese people have. I mean, I'm one to talk. I have lilac hair, but still.
頼むから。僕。
Having said his part, Akechi was led away by Scotland Yard to their waiting carriage.
明智さん。
大丈夫だよ。明智のことだからすぐに戻ってくるさ。
This reassurance was bereft of the usual pep and vigor. I could sense he didn't believe what he was saying, though he dearly wished he did. Oh, just a moment. All right, back. God, he's so cute. The small boy appeared like magic at Kobayashi's side. This lasted mere seconds, for with a tremble to his knees and a quiver to his lips, he sprinted after the carriage in a futile attempt to reach it before stopping.
リック。小林さん、師匠はどうして連れて行かれたんですか?
He's so small. When the boy returned to us, his eyes were puffy, face stained with tears. He clung to Kobayashi's sleeve as he pleaded.
それは
I had never seen such anguish in Kobayashi.
明智さんはいつも通りの様子だった。こんなのおかしいわ。ただ生まれた場所が違うだけなのに。
Right, something being normal doesn't mean it's right. Anger surged within me, building and building till I was compelled to act.
大丈夫よ、リック。
レディ？それって。
すぐに連れ戻してみせるんだから。
We're busting him out of there.
行くってどこへ？
決まっているわ。コベントガーデン市場よ。犯人の詳細を直接聞いてくるの。なんとしても明智さんの無実を証明しなくちゃ。
そうだな。ここで泣き寝入りなんてしてる場合じゃない。行こう、レディ。
We made our way in haste to Covent Garden Market. Time to find the real killers, I mean thieves. Our numerous questions upon finding the victim's stall ranged between broad and meticulous. Whatever there was to ask, whatever lead we had to follow, knew or planned, we brought it forth. The investigation was, in some sense, an immediate success. We learnt of several thefts dating to before Akechi had first set foot in the country. Wow, Kobayashi isn't even going to try to be the leader. Yeah, he's made to be an assistant after all. And then there was a most interesting detail. It was not one thief, but many, dressed in the same uniform, with no pale-haired boy to be counted in their group. We took our findings to Scotland Yard.
おや、ミス・ホワイトリー。今日はホームズ・ジュニアと一緒ではないのだな。
Ah, Lestrade! We know this one isn't corrupt. Lestrade, fire your men.
レストレード警部。
What fortune to run into the inspector right away. There was no better man to approach for this. Oh god, unless he also turns out to actually be racist. I hope you got those statements in writing. He was not perfect, naturally, a bit unreliable without detectives to aid him, but I knew he was a man who would prefer to listen rather than dismiss. No, don't drink that. Why? The truth is, I'm the one who's been stealing the bread. If you drink it, your bread will be stolen. Oh man, if we find that, arc one more time in this game, I'm gonna lose it.
ミス・ホワイトリー、今ちょっと失礼なこと考えなかったかい？
Maybe?
いいえ、そんなわけありません。
警部、ちょっと頼りなさそうだけど、警部がとても優秀でいい人だと見込んで頼みがあるんだ。
Kobayashi, please.
いきなりなんだね。それに若干失礼なこと言ってから褒めてないか？
Once he was calm, we reported our findings with conscientious detail.
そうか、それは悪いことをしたな。私からも口添えして彼を早く解放するように伝えよう。
本当に？
無実のものを捕らえるなんて我々の信用にもプライドにも関わることだからな。
Aww.
ありがとうございます、レストレード警部。
And like Kobayashi, he's curt, yeah, and he's super direct with his feelings. Which is something that I think Akechi needs to learn.
ここ最近、国外者による盗みや誘拐が多くてな。誘拐された子供が国外に連れて行かれて人身売買された事件もあるんだ。
It's the racism.
そのせいでヤードの中でも 異国のものを疑い深く見る連中が増えてしまってな。
Fire them.
困った。
He gave us his word again before he left us.
警部、うまく話してくれるといいけど。
大丈夫よ。そもそも明智さんは何も間違ったことはしていないんだもの。
そうだな。明智は悪いことなんてしてない。周りも分かってくれるって信じないとな。
Night passed, morning arrived. I didn't know what to expect when I entered the classroom for the day, but to my elation, Akechi was present. Aw, the strayed really did do it!
おはようございます、ミス・ホワイトリー。
He carried the same polite air as he always did, as though nothing had happened.
そんなところに突っ立っていると後がつかえてしまいますよ。
それよりも明智さん、あの後大丈夫だった？警部が。
I stepped forwards and reached for his sleeve.
おかげさまで。
Oh, he's embarrassed. I could feel Akechi tense at my touch, though he made no move to shake free from my grasp.
ですが、ミス・ホワイトリー、あなたはどうしてそこまで？
Why wouldn't I?
どうしてって。
What? We can't friend zone him. Important to me.
それは。
I knew what I felt. I did, but was unsure as to how to phrase it. It wasn't for you, it was for justice.
うまく言葉にできないんだけど。
Oh. Oh, he is definitely misunderstanding, but that's okay. It won't be a misunderstanding for long.
それに明智さんが戻ってこなかったらなんて考えたくもなかったわ。
サビ？
Akechi gave me a bewildered look.
僕がいなくて寂しい。
ええ、当然だわ。
そうですか。
I had no idea why he was looking at me with such perplexion.
すみません。あまり人からそういう言葉を言われたことがなかったもので。ところでミス・ホワイトリー、あなたはいつまで？
Are we too close for you, Akechi? Oh? What is it? What's wrong, Akechi-kun? Akechi's eyes flickered awkwardly to where I still clung to his arm.
ごめんなさい。渡したらつい。
I rushedly released my grip on him.
西洋の女性は積極的なんですね。ですが僕は女性が男性にむやみに近づくのはあまりよろしくないかと思います。
どうして？
どうして？とにかくあなたはいきなり人の手や腕を掴まないでください。
And that's how Akechi dies.
それにしてもミス・ホワイトリー、あなたには一つ大きな借りができてしまいましたね。あなたの迷惑になるようなことは決してしたくありませんでした。
迷惑だなんてそんなこと気にしなくていいのに。
いえ、僕は人からいただいた恩は決して忘れません。何か僕にできることがあれば言ってください。あなたのくれた恩に報いたいんです。
明智さん、それじゃあ一つだけいいかしら？
ええ、どうぞ。
私にも手伝わせてほしいの。
Atta girl.
え
I met with Akechi and Kobayashi in front of their dormitory later. There was a plan, and I was eager to be a partner. Kobayashi, too, responded eagerly to this news once relayed.
レディーも壺探しを手伝ってくれるの？でもよく明智が首を縦に振ったな。他人の努力なんてめったに受けたがらないのに。
Yeah, just count on us. Oh, right. Abigail had this tenant in her apartment that's a fan of pottery, right? So maybe she would have a lead.
僕に二言はありませんから。
ああ、なるほど。自分で言った手前、断りきれなかったんだな。明智って厳しいくせに、恩とかけるには律儀だよな。
Yeah, we'll abuse this power.
うるさいですよ、小林。
二人ともよろしくね。お役に立てるように頑張るわ。
Freya may not plan to abuse it, but this Freya over here does.
よろしくな、レディ。
よろしくお願いします。
Akechi spoke in a muted tone, still somewhat opposed to the whole affair. That he hadn't outright forbidden me from joining, however, showed a sign of change I welcomed. According to the information they had gathered previously, the vases were made by the Regal Crown Dewsbury Porcelain Company, the same workshop that crafted porcelain for Her Majesty. It went without saying that they were of considerable value, and likely to fetch a large sum if fenced at an antique shop. The client was flush with funds to buy the vases back if necessary, and by the time I joined the investigation, they had already located the shop to which they had been sold. Though they had been able to successfully purchase 2 of the vases, the remaining 3 had unfortunately been sold. The situation, as it stood, led us back into the antique shop.
あの時のメガネのガキじゃないか。
More specifically, he was like, "Oh, you're the glasses brat from last time, aren't you?"
明智さん、露骨に嫌がられているみたいだけれど。
ええ。おととい、売り物の管理がなっていなかったので、少し助言を。
What kind of advice?
少しなもんかよ。人様の商品にケチばっかりつけやがって。
埃まみれだったらケチもつけたくなります。この店に渡った品々が気の毒です。購買意欲が格段に損なわれます。
Oh man, I want to bring Akechi to a street market to haggle for me.
ああ、ごめん。おじさん、今日はこの壺を買った客について聞きに来たんだ。
Kobayashi inserted himself into the conversation forcibly to brandish a detailed sketch of the desired items.
この壺を買った3人がどんな人だったのか教えてほしいんだけど。
It was this intervention which calmed the shopkeeper and gleaned from him just what we needed.
壺を買った3人の情報を整理すると、最初に壺を買ったのは杖をついたおばあさんね。羽飾りをつけた帽子にいくつも指輪をはめていたそうよ。
The old good cop, aloof cop strategy. Gets him every time. But the trick is that all cops are bad.
お店の中を見て回っていたらしいけれど、最終的に壺を購入したみたい。
身なりから推測するに、身分の高いご婦人でしょうか。
そして壺を購入した2人目が
小林。ひげを生やした黒服の男性です。
待って、分かってるよ。今付け足して言おうと思ってたんだよ。
Akechi, don't be mean to your assistant.
それでこの人は残りの壺全部を買おうとして、店主が壺を1つしか売らなかったことにちょっと不満だったみたいだぜ。
今後壺がより良い値で売れる可能性を考えていたようですね。容易に想像できます。
でも壺を買ったら特に何も言わずに引き上げたんだって。紳士だな。
That's not helpful, like 20% of people in London are mustachioed men in black.
そうね。お店で口論にならなくてよかったわ。
そして最後に壺を買ったのは若い女性ですね。髪を乱雑にひとまとめにしてすごく急いでいる様子だったそうです。腕まくりをして手のひらは擦り傷だらけだったと。
So it doesn't seem like the sort of customer who would usually purchase fine pottery then.
1人目のおばあさんとは随分差があるわね。
その人、他のものを物色しないで真っ先に壺を買っていったらしいぜ。
それじゃあ 誰をし
Yeah, the young woman is definitely the most
最
suspicious.
後に壺を買った若い女性についてだけれど、腕まくりをしてすごく急いでいたってことは、何か急用で壺が必要になったんじゃないかしら。
Customer 3 is probably an employee of somebody else? Yeah, like maybe she broke a vase and had to really quickly replace it? Oh, maybe she was the, like, maid or something of the second guy.
例えば持っていた壺が割れてしまったけれ
Yeah,
ど、
Freya gets me.
どうして
お店の飾りとかだったらありそうな話だよ
Somebody who doesn't want to be seen at the vase shop. Ooh.
その若い女性は髪をひとまとめにし、腕まくりで手のひらには擦り傷があったんですよね。
Why would she be a
確かお姉
beautician?
さんって硬い葉っぱやトゲの処理で手がすごく傷んでしまうって花瓶の代わりに壺を買っていったんじゃないかしら。
王室御用達の壺を花瓶代わりとは。
でもそんな仕事途中の格好してたんならお店も近い場所にあるんじゃないか。
Really, an
探
antique
してみよ
shop
うぜ。
though? That must have been really pricey. We went to each of the street's florists in turn. In the third shop we visited, we at last found the vase we had been seeking, complete with a lily of the valley growing within. Oh, the lily of the valley. That is not a very fortuitous flower meaning. We explained to the shop's owner all that had happened, and were able to reclaim the vase for a modest sum. Well, I was wrong. Yeah, turns out it was a pretty innocent explanation. We continued our search for the missing vases. The more we searched, the more we realized tracking down all three would take more time than we anticipated. And more time still as we were interrupted. Is it the delinquent gang again? Akechi, in the midst of pondering, stopped without warning. No, don't drink from that vase.
明智さん、
どうしたんだ明智。
すみませんが、二人とも少しだけ待ってくれませんか？
Absolutely not. With a small sigh, Akechi turned round. Oh my god, is he trying to address something by himself again? Neither of us knew where he was looking. We followed his gaze until we noticed a familiar boy. Aww! A short boy with dark hair.
まあリック一体いつから後ろに？
全然気づかなかった。さすが明智に弟子入り志願するだけあるな。
Aw, and Kobayashi approves. As though emboldened by Kobayashi's praise, Rick clenched both his fists tightly, looking directly at Akechi.
僕を弟子にしてください。お願いします。やっぱりリックは本当に明智さんの弟子になりたいのね。
That's so cute.
リック、あなたが言いたいことはそれだけですか？では、そこまで弟子になりたいんだったら、僕にその覚悟の一つでも見せてください。
覚悟？
それができないのならば、僕に付きまとうのはやめてください。
Oh, he is serious.
口先だけの人間は好まないので。
His declaration made, Akechi cast his gaze away from the child.
そんな。
おいリック待てって。
Rick, looking thoroughly downhearted, turned and ran, heedless of Kobayashi calling after him.
おい明智、何もあんな言い方することないだろ。
これで彼も僕についてこようとは思わないはずです。
Even in the face of Kobayashi's withering glare, Akechi held fast to his position.
どこに行こうにもあんな風に付きまとわれたら迷惑なだけです。
でも言い方があるだろ。あんなこと言われたら誰だって傷つくぞ。
傷ついて諦めたら、所詮そこまでの意志だったということです。
I really feel like this relationship would have to be not just between Freya and Akechi here, but between all three of these people. Akechi's word cut to the quick, more so now than usual. It struck me as forced.
尊敬してるやつに突き放される。それがどんなに辛いことか。明智ならよくわかるはずだろ。
Kobayashi, that's too low.
俺は人の気持ちを踏みにじるようなやつは大嫌いだ。たとえ明智でもな。
あ、小林くん。
Kobayashi pivoted round to follow after Rick. Akechi made no attempt to stop him. He stood in place, not a muscle moved, not a blink of an eye, and watched till his friend was gone.
明智さん、追いかけなくて。
依頼をこなすことが先決です。
The response was blunt. Adjusting his sword slung at his waist as one might a scarf, he continued on with his work. This time I was the one who stood unmoving.
明智さん、さっき一瞬だけ。
He just doesn't want to put Rick in danger.
って見えたけれど。ってまた置いていかれてしまう。待って、明智さん。
My thoughts were all a jumble, but that was no excuse to say and do nothing. Organization would have to come whilst I ran.
明智さん。明智さん。ひょっとして師匠のことを考えていたんじゃ。
What should I ask? What was he thinking? What happened earlier? Nothing? But the terse tone of his voice stilled the words resting at my tongue.
なんでもないの。
ミス・ホワイトリー。あなたは嘘をつくことが苦手なんですね。
Yeah, he's right.
どうせ小林から詳しくは言えないけどとか言いながら聞かされたのでしょ。僕と師匠のことを。大方。
そんなにわかりやすい顔をしていたかしら。
Yeah, you really do.
はい。でもそれが悪いとは思いません。あなたが今までどれほど素直に健やかに育ってきたのかよくわかります。
It's really pure and refreshing to meet somebody who's never needed to lie.
言っておきますが、僕は自分のしたことに後悔はありません。むしろ僕は幸運でした。海を越えるきっかけにもなりましたし、人に頼っては自分のためにならないと身をもって教わりましたから。
No, reliance on others is definitely a benefit, Akechi. What did we just tell you?
それに小林もその頃からうるさくしていましたし、一度だって僕は周りに流されて自分の頭で考えることを放棄したことはありません。
Akechi's grip tightened round the sheath of his sword.
明智さん、リックを冷たく断っていたのには、弟子を取らない以外にも何か理由があったの？
どうしてです？
リックを断る時の明智さん、なんだか。
His sword?
申し
Akechi?
訳なさ
Yeah?
そうというか。
What is it, Vivlio?
心苦しそうに。
It's okay, he's allowed to have a sword in public. This is the 19th century.
あなたは意外に人のことをよく見ているんですね。
まあ、明智さん、私はこれでも探偵なのよ。
そうですね。あなたの言う通りです。僕をスコットランドヤードに突き出そうとした者たち、彼らは偽証をしたということで学園から厳しく罰せられることになっています。つまり僕への恨みがますます募っていきます。
I knew it.
仕返しに今度は周りの者も巻き込みかねません。だから巻き込まれる前に僕から離れた方がいいと思ったのですが。
The shadow beneath his eyes was not from being tired. The pain he carried was heavy, nerve-wracking down to his soul. For it was not only his pain, but every potential person who crossed his path. And for each new person he met, the pain was heavier.
でもあんな言い方では明智さんが冷たい人だと誤解されてしまうわ。
いえ、むしろそう思って欲しかったんですけど。
Ah, this stupid liar.
リックを巻き込まないために
Yeah.
嫌われようとするなんて。明智さ
I
ん、
gotta screenshot this because
なんと
Akechi
いう
is
か
fool. Akechi is fool. Akechi is fool and liar?
優しいけれど
Yeah.
とても不器用なのかしら。
That's the sort of gentleness that hurts him. And we can't let him hurt himself.
今何か言いましたか？
いいえ、何も。
そうですか。でも僕もリックに対してもっと言葉を選ぶべきだったと思います。怒った小林に指摘されて気づくとは鍛錬が足りませんね。
Don't look so sad. Please, stop looking so sad.
大丈夫よ。
Everything will be daijobu. It was all I could say.
ミス・ホワイトリー。
Hug him!
明智さんは自分のことよりもいつも困っている人のために心を砕いているわ。きっとリックもそんな明智さんだから何度断られても諦めずに。それなのに自分から誤解されようとするなんて、私は明智さんの素晴らしいところたくさん知っているもの。
人からそんな風に励まされたのは初めてですね。
I could not read him then. He was uncomfortable, confused, flabbergasted, in love.
こういう時何と返したらいいのかわかりませんがそのありがとうございます。
I want to praise him more. I want to embarrass him with how much I like him. He searched and paused for the answer, then seemed unable to find anything that was proper and spoke without any calculation. It was the most gentle, youthful version of him I'd ever seen. The contrast with his usual self-sufficient air of maturity came as a bit of a surprise.
もっと明智さんの役に立てたら。
I couldn't help but feel restless, though I couldn't entirely say why. The two of us continued our search for the remaining vases. It then became 3 as Kobayashi approached.
おい、明智！
Something was amiss, for he was very short of breath. Oh, did Rick get kidnapped?
小林くん。
小林。リック。
He got super abducted, didn't he? He could not finish.
明智、お前リックに言ったよな。弟子になりたいんだったら覚悟の一つでも見せろって。
Oh, is he facing the bullies? Kobayashi gripped Akechi's arm and dug his nails in so that it must have hurt.
じゃあ責任持ってちゃんと見届けろ。
小林、お前は一体何の話を？
リックのやつ、お前に認めてもらうって言ってあいつらを追いかけていったんだよ。
あいつらって。
Kobayashi explained how he and Rick just had happened to catch sight of the students responsible for Akechi's unjust arrest as they were plotting what further trouble they might cause him. I believe in Rick. I don't believe in Rick because he's like 10 years old. Maybe he drank the bee-framed juice intended for Akechi. No, don't drink that! And how, ignoring Kobayashi's warnings and attempts to stop him, Rick pursued. Rick is 10 years old.
俺がリックを引きずり戻さないでここに来たのは、お前にあいつのリック、そうしないとリックはいつまで経っても。だから一緒に来い。 そしてちゃんと見てやれよ。
Watch this 10-year-old just fight a pack of high schoolers.
覚悟ってやつをさ。
Look what blood your hands are stained with. Kobayashi's usual chipper expression was wholly absent. In his place was one of ironclad seriousness.
わかりました。そこまでお前が言うなら仕方ありません。
Akechi and I followed quickly after Kobayashi. Slipping down the small back alley, we could make out several voices.
このガキ、もう一遍言ってみろよ。
You know, this character really looks like he was designed for something else, but that they couldn't, like, get the actual bully's portrait done on time, so they just slapped him in here. Like, look at that innocent smile.
もう師匠にひどいことをしないでください。
お前、そんなこと言うために俺たちを追いかけてきたのか？バカらしい。
Yeah, he is.
チビ一人に一体何ができるって言うんだ。とっとと消えろよ。
Hey? And what's wrong with being little?
それはできません。
Facing down the group of boys, each far larger than himself, Vic clenched his fist tightly, his whole body shaking. He looked as though tears might well up at any moment. That could be a mischievous smile. Yeah, it just doesn't have the usual villain smile that we'd see in this game. However,
約束してくれるまで師匠に明智さんに嫌がらせしないって言ってくれるまで僕帰りません。
Rick, this child! Rick shouted now, the will of his body audible in his quavering declaration. Even still, he refused to take so much as a single step back.
おい、明智。
Akechi stood silent, unmoving. I called out to him timidly.
私は明智さんと師匠のこと何も知らないけれどリックが明智さんに憧れてついていきたいと思う気持ちは本物だと思うの。だから自分が師匠として慕われることどうか怖がらないで。
Just as Akechi looked at me in surprise, events took a turn.
しつこいんだよ、このガキが。
One of the boys drew back his fist, then took a swing at Rick. It's sword time!
危ない。
大丈夫だよ、レディ。
He's 10. Kobayashi's stubborn tone from before had been replaced with complete calm.
明智は必死に頑張ってるやつのこと絶対に見捨てないから。
There he is! About to destroy them with facts and logic and a sword.
銀髪メガネ。
Okay, this time Adam didn't call him something racist. This time he just said, "Wow! It's the pale-haired glasses dude."
師匠。
I like how he's a pale-haired glasses dude.
まったく、あなたは。
Akechi had interposed himself between Rick and the boy, catching the young man's punch with an open hand. The boys' shouts of cruel glee gave way to silence, and they tensed at the very sight of him.
リック、相手の攻撃に対して何の反応も取れないようでは殴ってくれと言っているようなものですよ。ですがその勇気は認めざるを得ません。まるで小さい頃に自分を見ているようでしたし。
Aww.
くそ、離せよ。
Akechi, you're holding somebody else's hand right in front of us? His arm now tightly wound in Akechi's grip, the boy cried out in pain. Throwing himself free of the hold, he backed off warily.
子供に手を挙げるのは大人げないとあなたたちには前にもお伝えしたはずですよ。
メガネザルの言葉なんていちいち覚えていられるかよ。
東洋人のくせに調子に乗りやがって。
Throw them in jail.
そこのお仲間も合わせて二度と学園に来れないようにしてやる。
僕一人に用があるのなら多少は目をつぶりましたが、どうやらあなたたちは中途半端に痛めつけたところで意味がないようですね。ミス・ホワイト、少し預かっていてください。
これ明智さんの刀。
Oh, he is going to beat them with his bare fist. Pulling the sword from his belt, sheath and all, Akechi placed it in my hands. Then, reaching down, he took up a stick that was lying near his feet. Oh, convenient.
おい、お得意の武器はいいのかよ。一般人に対して刀は使えません。前にもそう言ったはずです。
I really hate the way these guys talk. Yeah.
ミス・ホワイトリー、ことが落ち着くのでその刀をお願いします。
もちろん。
I clasped his katana tightly in my arms.
明智さん、いつもこんなに重たいものを腰に刺しているのね。
That's solid iron, baby. And with each passing moment, the weight of it seemed to grow.
おい、明智。
いえ、無この名は僕に任せてください。
Let him show off.
こんな余裕ぶって後悔しても知らないからな。
Hey, I'm the only one who gets to see Akechi cry.
俺たちに手を出したこと身をもって後悔させてやる。
言っておきますが、僕は必要以上に傷つけることは
Akechi swung his stick through the air as though testing its heft. Seeming satisfied, he raised it above his head, pausing for but a moment.
まあ、見ていてください。
In one instant, both Akechi and his assailants attacked. But rather than a frenzy of slashes, Akechi employed all three only a single broad slash. The motion was so quick that the humble stick seemed to blur and vanish before my eyes. All came to a standstill. Gasps of pain were all that told me time was still constant. Nothing personnel, kid. The three crumpled face down in the alley. They simply lay there, as though the mere act of drawing breath required of them labored effort.
師匠、すごい。
I really hope he's not arrested for assault now. Rick's voice rang with dew-eyed admiration.
一振りで3人を一撃で倒してしまうなんて。
Like Rick, I found myself struck with wonder and admiration for Akechi's masterful swordsmanship.
明智さんはそれで。
何って手当てですよ。この人。
でもこの人たちは明智さんのことを。
You know how
僕
Akechi
が
is.
攻撃を加えた部分は痛みこそ強烈ですが、すぐに手当てすれば痛みの引きも早いんです。
My words and face must surely have conveyed my bewilderment, but if he felt any of the situation's heavy irony, his matter-of-fact response did not betray it.
リック、あなたも見ていないで手伝ってください。
はい。
With great skill, Akechi tended to the injuries he had caused only minutes before. The boys were unsure of what to think once they were tended to.
いってって。お前、どうして俺たちの手当てなんか。
Is this what they call the carrot and the stick?
僕が目指すのは探偵です。刀は僕にとって人を守るものであって傷つけるためのものではない。だからこの手が傷つけたものにはせめて自分の手で手当てをしたい。それだけです。
Is this Ame to Kusari?
どうぞ気にしないでください。僕の自己満足ですから。
This is the BGM that sounds like it indicates that somebody is falling in love. And it's probably Freya with Akechi, but now I'm just imagining the bullies just becoming enamored with him. I don't think I'm fond of that. He's raised a flag with underling B. They continue to gaze at Akechi, wholly unsure what to make of him.
お前怒ってるんじゃないのか。俺たちはお前を学園から追い出そうとしたんだぞ。 日本人のくせにイギリス人の俺たちより期待されてるのが気に食わなくてちやほやされてるのが気に食わなくて。
Wow, he's articulating himself so well. Instead of just saying that he's racist.
怒ってなんかいませんよ。よそ者を快く思わないのはどこも同じですから。あなたたちはエゲレス人として誇りを持って生きたらいい。この国にはあなたたちの居場所がある。それに正当な評価だって受けることができる。
We all know what... Well, we know what Freya must do. Take up the blade to impress Akechi. Exactly. Perhaps the real racists were the friends we made along the way. We're not friends.
この国であなたたちの力が認められることはきっと僕が認められることよりずっと優しいはずですから。
It was a tone of indifference, but his words were directed squarely towards his former enemies.
感動した。
He really did raise a flag with Underling B.
こんなに心揺さぶられたのはこいつらと学園の屋上で沈みゆく夕日を見つめて以来だ。
Tuxie Doji, you were right! I can't believe I need to step out now. Because Akechi has somebody else important to him.
奇遇だな。俺もだ。
ああ、俺もだ。
Shut up, Adam.
はあ、何言ってんだこいつら。
Still in pain, but over the worst of it, they worked to stand as a team so that they could face Akechi properly.
これは一体何の真似ですか？
Rick is so tiny.
俺たちはお前の、いや、あなたの男気に惚れた。
どうか俺たちをあなたの弟子にしてください。
Absolutely not.
どうかあなたのことを兄貴と呼ばせてください。
No.
お願いします。
No. The three of them stood, eyes sparkling before Akechi. While you were learning how to master the art of the blade, Freya was studying the blade to impress Akechi and steal his heart. Yeah.
すごい。明智さんに弟子がたくさん。
おい、明智。何か言ってやらないとこいつらずっとこの姿勢のままだぞ。別に。
大変申し訳ありませんが、僕にはすでに先約があるんです。
先約？
はい。今の僕は彼一人で手がいっぱいでしょうから。
He's so sweet.
え？
Little head pat. Akechi gently tousled Rick's hair. Rick gazed up at him, eyes wide with surprise.
師匠、僕。
言っておきますが、あなたを本当に弟子にするかどうかはまだ決めていません。ただチャンスくらいは与えてやろうと思っただけです。
All right, I have a great lesson to you. What's that? How to get a broken nose by calling someone an Oriental. I realize I've taught one of you this lesson already, but it's good to study. Kobayashi, you're learning swordplay. Rick, get out of here.
僕は厳しいですよ。覚悟してください。
はい、師匠。
いい返事ですね。
He looked down at Rick, a gentle smile playing upon his lips. Good for him. I wonder if Rick will even show up after this chapter. He still felt some lingering discomfort at being referred to as master, but one could see pride and even a bit of happiness in his demeanor.
レディー、俺さ、リックが明智に憧れてるって知って、明智って厳しくてなかなか人に合わせて動けないし、相手のためだったらリックには明智を慕う気持ちなくしてほしくなかったんだ。
小林くんがリックを追いかけていったのは
小林、ミス・ホワイト、そんなに笑ってどうしたんです？
なあ明智、俺今日お前に大嫌いなんて言ったけどさ、明智のことだから真に受けて落ち込んだりしなかったかちょっと心配で。
そんなことするわけがありません。
It was at that juncture that I realized I was still clutching Akechi's katana.
明智さん、ごめんなさい。私、ずっとこの刀を持ったままだったわ。
Is he going to give it to us like he gave us the mystery box? I held the sheath blade out to him.
いえ、僕がお願いしたことですから。
Is he straight up giving us his sword?
ですが、あなたにはちょっと重かったのでは?
The blade that, in the tension of the incident, had seemed so ponderous in my grasp, now felt light, and Akechi took it from my hands as though it weighed nothing at all.
そんなことないわ。その刀は明智さんの大切なものだろうし、ちゃんと守らなきゃって思って。
そうですね。あなたの考え通り、この刀は僕にとって大切なものです。
Because it's from your master? Who you still love?
ですが、とっさに、あなたになら刀を預けても大丈夫だと、そう思えたんです。
He really did learn to rely on people.
どうしてなのかは、わかりませんが。
Akechi then turned from me. My heart swelled with both embarrassment and pride. Later, in no small part part to the three boys, we were able to recover all the remaining vases. Several days after, Akechi and Kobayashi paid another visit to their client, this time to return what was once lost. The client had been overjoyed with their work. He expressed that if he ever required such services again, he would telephone them without delay. Kobayashi's face beamed as he related the story, and even Akechi seemed more sprightly than usual. Seeing them so happy and hearing them share their triumph, I couldn't help but feel uplifted. There was nothing quite like a bad day ending in good cheer. And that's the end of that chapter. I think these were a nice couple opening chapters to Akechi's route. So what's coming up next?
黒魔術結社の罠。
Ah. Oh geez, so is the cult the overarching villain after all? I was getting worried since Rick didn't get kidnapped by a cult, so I guess their trap is springing now. I mean, no, hopefully it's just for this one short arc, and not for the entire route. I can't say that I'm fond of the whole black magic deal in what's normally, like, you know, the detective genre, it usually has to do with the heart of things, like interpersonal relationships or personal greed. Cult stuff just seems a bit too out there. Yeah, black magic cult is a bit of a jump from what we were doing. Another kidnapping. Yeah, abduction too, electric boogaloo. Oh, maybe both abduction and poisoning at the same time. I mean, maybe the black magic cult is getting people on their side by poisoning them with hallucinogens? That sounds realistic, right? Well, let's save. Not the black magic. Alright. Ah, I accidentally skipped something, didn't I? Oh well, we'll leave that for later. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in London Detective Mysteria. I'm enjoying Akechi's route. It's a bit hard to deal with the whole racism thing, but I am going through it. We're all just going through it. And besides, Akechi is really sweet. I hope that eventually we'll be able to get some solo scenes with him without Kobayashi. Even though Kobayashi is maybe somebody who will need to decode what he's thinking. Take care and rest well, Freya. Thanks, Bad Luck Kun. You too. Let me see who is available to raid. Akechi and Kobayashi are a package deal. Sorry, Freya. It's okay, I'll accept that then. Ah, I know. That Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. 5, 4. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming, and Rhea Fukunaga signing off. 3, 2, 1. And bye-bye to everybody. Have a good night.